Hey guys, we're going to go through this tutorial on how to receive a net deposit from an external merchant service account such as Stripe or PayPal or Square or any transaction that deposits a net amount, not the fully billed amount or the invoiced amount. So as you can see, we're dealing with the $95.83 as our example today. The item sold was a $99 item. So let's jump in and I'll show you how we can do this. You will need to create an invoice, not a sales receipt, an invoice for these items. And if it seems like that might be overwhelming because you're going to have to create an invoice for every single recurring payment, maybe you have a subscription or a membership or some way that you're charging a client for a specific period of time, the same amount over and over, then we can talk later, there will be a different one, on how to set that up as a recurring item. That way you're not having to go in and have one more thing on your to-do list to create one more invoice for another of the same things, even though they're going to be, you're charging them each month at the same time. Maybe you already have it on your external account, your Stripe account, that it's set up as a recurring charge, so it's going to be dumping this in even if you didn't create an invoice. But the best rule of thumb would be to create the actual invoice itself on a regular basis before this populates, so then it can come in and tie it together. Let's go into the sales piece of it first. Go to your company, and I want you to go and create an invoice for the amount that is actual full amount billed to your client. And then you can save and close it. And then I want you to receive payment. It will be either over here, or there's multiple ways you can go and receive payment. And you go ahead and create that payment for that invoice, tagging the invoice for the actual amount that you that invoice was for. This is the piece number one to this. This has nothing to do with the bank account deposit yet. This is you charging your client for a specific amount of money, and this is you closing that receipt for a specific amount of money. If you were to put in here the $95.83, it's going to show that your client on this invoice is still open and that they owe you that $3.17 because it doesn't know where to put it. So you want to close the invoice for the full amount. We will handle the other side of the transaction on the next piece of it here. Deposit to, this is very, very, very important. It needs to go to undeposited funds. That is a holding account so that we can make little adjustments inside there when we need to. So inside of here, make sure that this says undeposited funds. And let's save and close that. Now we want to go up to the Quick Connect button, which is the circle with the cross in it up on the top. And we want, so this is not, bank deposit is not the same as receiving payment to the invoice. So when we create the invoice, we receive payment to the invoice, and we say, okay, we know that we received money on this, but we are not depositing the money in the bank account yet. We're not tying in that deposit yet. So receiving payment, when you go to undeposited funds, is not putting it into the bank account yet. We have this one last step that we have to get it into the bank account. And so that is the bank deposit piece of this. Now, if you were to do straight to the bank account instead of the undeposited funds, this negates this type of piece in the puzzle, but yet you can't group things. You can't have, one payment. You can't take care of net deposits. You can't take care of any of these things. That's why undeposited funds make that start to be your deposit piece, because then we can clear up so many questions inside that undeposited funds transaction piece right there. So back to the item at hand, let's go to bank deposit. And we have right here, you'll see I'm telling the bank, hey, on 8/10, I say that I received payment from someone. Now I'm going to tell that payment where to go. Click on this, but again, it's at $99. We need to adjust that. This is the screen that we make the adjustment on. So here we go. I have mine listed as QuickBooks payment fees because for 4 years I was working strictly with merchant services inside of QuickBooks, which does not take that fee out of the deposit itself. It charges me on the same day of the deposit. But since opening it up to Stripe and PayPal and Square and all these new payment platforms that exist now, I will probably be changing that name to just say merchant service fees. If you don't already have it in your account, create that as merchant service fees. And then over here, I'll put what fee or what account I did Stripe. And then This is your big piece. So it's negative because we are creating the amount that was taken out of that deposit for the fee. $3.17. And if you look here, $95.83. This is going to give you that piece. And we have invoice created, invoice closed. And we should be able to go over here. Okay, so, and this is, if you'll notice, the reason it has 95.83 is because this transaction dated on 7/20. My transaction I just created was for today's date on 8/10, and it's saying that's too far away, so it's not actually creating that as a match. Typically, if you do it on the same day, it's going to create this as a match for you. But if this issue comes up, it's because your dates differ too far for QuickBooks to say fairly certain that this is a match. So it's not saying anything. So what we do with that case is we come here, we click open, and we say find a match, and we adjust our dates. And we say, here we go, 95.83, save, and it pulled it straight out. So that's how we learn to do the transactions for Stripe, and it will put it in your bank register, and it'll close the invoice for the full amount. It will allow the deduction, the expense on your profit and loss for the bank fee amount, and it will tie it to the transaction inside the bank fee for the deposit itself. So it loops it all the way around, and that way it closes all the loopholes, and then we don't have anything out hanging out there that's not being handled that we have to go fix later when we come across it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, I'm going to be posting this, so please be sure to let me know. Either reach out to me on your forms of communication, your communication portals, either in the group or on the Slack channel, and we will take care of it from there. Talk to you soon.